Moratorium benefits more than 7.7 million borrowers and 243,000 SMEs. No roadblocks, people can travel to hometowns for Aidil Adha. Thanks for joining us here on News at 10. I'm Brendan Lepol. More than 7.7 million individual borrowers and more than 243,000 businesses, or 95% of SME borrowers, have benefited from a 6-month loan moratorium implemented by the government. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said although the moratorium does not cover credit card debts, banks have offered borrowers who face financial difficulties the option to convert their credit debts to term loans for a period of up to 3 years at a lower interest rate compared to the regular credit card rates.
Alhamdulillah, saya yakin moratorium ini telah sedikit sebanyak dapat membantu rakyat dan perniagaan mengarungi tempoh yang mencabar disebabkan Covid-19. Saya ingin mengatakan dalam perbincangan yang sedang diadakan sekarang bersama dengan Bank Negara Malaysia dan sektor perbankan mengenai halu tuju ke hadapan, mereka telah memberi komitmen untuk terus membantu rakyat dan perniagaan yang memerlukan bantuan dalam tempoh yang mencabar ini. InsyaAllah keputusan akan dimaklumkan dalam masa terdekat.
The Finance Minister also told the Dewan Rakyat today that borrowers with financial issues have been urged via social and mass media to contact their respective banks as soon as possible to ensure that they have sufficient time to decide on the most suitable loan repayment plan. He added that for the first 6 months of 2020, more than 21,000 borrowers have received assistance from financial institutions with regards to the loan repayment plans compared to only around 14,000 borrowers for the whole of 2019. The domestic tourism industry has shown encouraging development after tourism activities were allowed to resume when the Recovery Movement Control Order was enforced on the 10th of June. Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri said the positive development is the result of initiatives by domestic tourism industry players through special travel packages with attractive promotion prices for hotels, flight ticket and entrance tickets for tourism products and destinations.
Kadar purata penginapan ataupun average occupancy rate dengan izin di beberapa hotel di bandar dan resort di seluruh negara mendapati sambutan yang diterima adalah menggalakkan, terutamanya di lokasi yang menawarkan keindahan alam semula jadi seperti di pulau dan pantai, tanah tinggi atau di pinggir hutan. Tren mingguan kadar penginapan juga menunjukkan peningkatan berbanding minggu sebelumnya. Walaupun tidak mendadak atau ketara peningkatannya, ia masih memberi indikatif positif.
Datuk Seri Nancy also told the Dewan Rakyat today that following the cancellation of the Visit Malaysia 2020 last March, the 90 million ringgit allocation was kept for the next campaign. She added that although Visit Malaysia 2020 was cancelled, the ministry was also monitoring to see whether the countries which were collaborating with Malaysia were those in the Covid-19 Green Zone category. LBS Bina Group Berhad has lowered its sales target to 1 billion ringgit for the financial year 2020 from 1.6 billion ringgit announced earlier, as it takes into account the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak, but remains positive it could surpass its target should economic conditions improve. Group Managing Director Tan Sri Lim Hock San said the property developer reviewed its sales target in April following the implementation of the government's Movement Control Order, MCO, which had impacted consumer spending amid a weaker economic climate. Speaking to reporters after the group's annual general meeting in Petaling Jaya, Selangor, Tan Sri Lim, however, said following the loosening of the MCO and reopening of the economy, sales momentum had picked up.
As in yesterday, LBS has obtained the sales of ringgit 780 million ringgit, 780. So when we talk about 1 billion sales target, I think is look at the figures. I think we can easily get a 1 billion achieved. And that's what I can say.
According to Tan Sri Lim, the group's total unbilled sales as at 15 July stood at 2 billion ringgit, which can be translated into earnings in the next 2 to 3 years. To date, he said LBS Bina has a total of 15 ongoing projects with an estimated gross development value (GDV) of 4.3 billion ringgit. As at 30th of June, he said LBS Bina owns future land bank of 3,591 acres, adding that this land bank is projected to keep the company busy for the next 10 to 15 years. With a focus on affordable housing, he also said that LBS Bina plans to launch properties with a combined GDV of 3 billion ringgit in the next 9 months. The outcome of the discussion on the implementation of the National Digital Infrastructure Workshop (MAKMAL) is expected to be released in mid-August. Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah said the workshop from 13 July to 14 August was in collaboration with the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission (MCMC), telecommunication industry players and related agencies to reset targets related to the development of the country's digital infrastructure.
Ada dua perkara di sini. Yang pertama ialah soal kos untuk internet connectivity di kawasan luar bandar. Seperti yang saya jelaskan minggu lalu di dalam Dewan Yang Mulia ini. Kita sedang mengadakan suatu makmal infrastruktur digital negara di antara SKMM dengan semua pemain industri, syarikat-syarikat telekomunikasi dan agensi-agensi yang berkaitan. Soalannya begini, sekiranya plan yang asal itu diteruskan di mana syarikat-syarikat telekomunikasi ialah dengan perancangan yang awal yang sebelum ini meneruskan kerja-kerja mereka secara biasa.
Datuk Saifuddin also told the Dewan Rakyat today that the government had taken the initiative to provide public cellular services. He said the initiative would involve the construction of new communication towers and upgrading of communication transmitters in existing towers to 3G and 4G services nationwide, especially in rural and remote areas. Malaysia today recorded 7 new Covid-19 cases, of which 3 cases were transmitted locally. Health Ministry Director General Dato Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the 3 cases involving Malaysians were detected through pre-operation testing in Sabah hospitals, 2 at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kota Kinabalu and 1 at Women's and Children's Hospital in Likas. As for the remaining 4 imported cases, Dr. Nur Hisham said they involve 3 Malaysians and a foreigner married to a Malaysian.
4 kes import tersebut adalah dari negara Pakistan, Rusia, Australia dan juga Indonesia. Tiada kes penularan di dalam negara di kalangan bukan warga negara dilaporkan pada hari ini. Kesemua 3 kes penularan dalam negara adalah di kalangan warga negara Malaysia dan perincian kes adalah seperti berikut, iaitu ketiga-tiga kes berada di negeri Sabah.
He said this brings the country's infection tally to 8,904 cases, with the number of active cases now at 179. There was also 1 recovery today, he said, bringing the cumulative recoveries to 8,601 cases, or 96.6% of the total number of cases. He added that there were no new cases in the intensive care unit or new fatalities reported today, with the country's COVID-19 death toll remaining at 124 cases. Asked about the Bukit Tiram cluster in Johor that involved the Roman Catholic Church, Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the cluster was identified as one of the groups for targeted approach. He added that contact tracing to identify close contacts and those who had been present at the identified religious center will be done immediately.
Kluster ini didapati turut melibatkan kes import dari negara Filipina. Namun, siasatan masih dijalankan bagi mengenal pasti kes indeks dan punca jangkitan COVID-19 pada kluster ini.
Besides conducting screening and active case detection, Dr. Nur Hisham said high-risk individuals or those who are related to this group are also encouraged to do COVID-19 self-assessment. If they display symptoms, he said, they should contact the nearest clinic or district health office to get treatment. The public can travel to their hometowns to celebrate Hari Raya Aidiladha as there will be no roadblocks, including for interstate travel. Senior Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, however, reminded people to always observe the Standard Operating Procedure (SOP) to curb the spread of COVID-19.
Keputusan kita tidak ada sekatan dari segi rentas negeri ataupun rentas daerah. Tidak ada. Ya. Mereka boleh bebas untuk balik dan sebagainya.
He said this in a press conference on the Recovery Movement Control Order at the Parliament building today. There has been growing concern that interstate travel may be banned following a recent spike in daily COVID-19 cases. Concerns also elevated as the Royal Malaysia Police and the Malaysian Armed Forces have set up camps along several highways. Muslims in Malaysia will celebrate Hari Raya Aidiladha this Friday. On another note, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said people who are still under compulsory home quarantine are prohibited from leaving the house, travelling to their hometowns or to receive guests.
Kerajaan amat memandang serius kepada insiden-insiden ketidakpatuhan SOP kuarantin di rumah yang telah menyebabkan penularan jangkitan COVID-19 kepada ahli keluarga dan juga masyarakat sekeliling. Pegawai Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia ataupun KKM bersama anggota PDRM akan membuat pemeriksaan spot check secara berkala yang melibatkan yang akan memastikan pematuhan SOP kepada mereka yang di kuarantin.
He added if a person wearing the quarantine wristband violates the rules, the public should report it to the police. Datuk Seri Ismail said that all the SOPs are for the federal territories and can be used by the state religious councils as reference. The federal government has allowed the Sarawak state government to limit interzone movement from the 1st to 14 August to curb the spreading of COVID-19. This follows an increase in the number of positive cases over the past few days.
Pergerakan zon berbeza juga dengan PKP. Kalau kita PKP dulu, semua keluar rumah pun tak boleh. Yang ini boleh. Tetapi mesti mohon kebenaran daripada pihak polis. Maknanya masih ada kebebasan. Cuma sekatannya perlu mendapat kebenaran saja. Intrazone boleh. Kalau dalam zon merah sekalipun, daripada kota Samarhan, daripada Samarhan nak pergi Kuching, boleh dibenarkan. Tetapi perlu, kalau keluar zon, perlu mendapat kebenaran. Kerana kita tak mahu daripada zon merah pergi ke zon hijau, mungkin akan beri kesan kepada zon hijau tersebut.
Zone 1 are the yellow or red zones of Kuching, Serian and Samarahan, while Zone 2 are the green zones, which includes Seri Aman, Betong, Sarike, Kapit, Muka, Bintulu, Miri and Limbang. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said that Sarawak will also limit the number of incoming flights from Peninsular Malaysia, Sabah and Labuan to the state during the same period. Kuching was declared a COVID-19 red zone after 4 more COVID-19 cases related to the Sentosa Hospital cluster were detected.
Saksikan berita Parlimen setiap Isnin hingga Khamis 10.30 malam di saluran berita RTM dan TV1.
Coming up, heavier punishment for basikal raja offences. Punishment for offences related to basikal lajak, modified bicycles and other micro-mobility vehicles will be heavier under the Road Transport Amendment Act 2020. Under the bill, a micro-mobility vehicle is defined as a vehicle propelled by electrical means, an internal combustion engine or human power, or a combination of either of all, with a maximum speed of 50 kilometers per hour. Speaking at a media briefing at the Parliament building today, Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said the definition also covered basikal lajak, which is also known as mosquito bicycles.
Kita nak bagi kesedaran. Tujuan kita tidak mau menghukum. Kalau kita benarkan kenderaan ni yang tak ada brek di atas jalan, bayangkan kemalangan akan berlaku bila-bila masa. Ya? Jadi itu yang kita nak buat pindaan. Dulu RM300 orang tak takut. Sekarang kita ketatkan dan hukuman dia lebih berat.
The bill states an offender who rides a micro-mobility vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs will be fined between RM1,000 and RM5,000 and shall be liable to a maximum 1 year jail. However, if it involves minors, Datuk Seri Dr. Wee said parents or guardians who allow them to be out late at midnight will be fined. The 27 Rohingya refugees feared drowned in the sea off Langkawi Island yesterday have actually entered the country illegally. Kedah and Police Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA Director First Admiral Maritime Muhammad Zawawi Abdullah said the 13 men, 9 women and 5 children comprising of 4 boys and 1 girl were found hiding in Pulau Rebak Besar at 6:15 p.m. yesterday. They were found by the search and rescue team during Operation Cari Lamat after authorities initially received a report from a Rohingya survivor claiming that 24 of his compatriots might have drowned after they all allegedly jumped off a boat near the island at 8 p.m. on Saturday. This is believed to be the group's latest modus operandi in trying to enter the country illegally.
Memaklumkan telah terjun daripada sebuah bot dan diarahkan untuk berenang ke Pulau Rebak Besar lah. Dan kita syaki bot tersebut adalah bot nelayan tempatan yang mana telah tersubahat dalam melakukan aktiviti penyeludupan manusia ke Pulau Langkawi.
He said this to reporters at the Kedah and Police State Maritime Headquarters, Bukit Malut, today. He said previously the refugees would purposely cause a leak on their boats or damage the engine once they were near the island. Failing to find any clues or victims during the search and rescue, a complaint was received from a local fisherman who found a Rohingya man on Pulau Rebak Besar. A MMEA boat was then dispatched to the location. The migrant was later interrogated and he revealed that there were 26 more migrants still hiding on the island. A search later discovered the 26 migrants who are aged between 5 and 45 safe and sound. Muhammad Zawawi said all 27 migrants, including the complainant, were taken to the Kedah and Police Malaysian Maritime Jetty in Bukit Malut for further investigations and for preliminary Covid-19 screening before they are handed over to the Immigration Department. A 71-year-old retired teacher lost about 1.06 million ringgit to a Macau scam recently. Petaling Jaya Police Chief ACP Nick Zani Muhammad Faisal said the woman received a call on the 25th of May, supposedly from a post-laju company, that a parcel under her name was sent from Kepong to Kota Kinabalu. He said the caller alleged that the package was filled with contraband items. The call was then transferred to another scammer, posing as Sergeant Chong from Kota Kinabalu. The scammer said the victim was being investigated and warned her not to tell anyone or risk prosecution for money laundering.
Pihak IPD Commercial Crime kita sedang berusaha. Kita dah identify few accounts dan kita akan maklum balik bila berlaku tangkapan dan sebagainya.
Briefing reporters today, Nick Izzani said the victim transferred 1.06 million ringgit of her life savings into 10 bank accounts made from 15 June until the 23rd of July. Police believe such scammers often target senior citizens and retirees. With that, we conclude this evening's news at 10. In our top story, Moratorium benefits more than 7.7 million borrowers and 243,000 SMEs. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Brenda Lepol. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening. Good night.